Shohei Ohtani is one of the most talented players in Major League Baseball history, but his rise to the top wasn't just improbable, it was borderline impossible. If you've started watching baseball within the past 20 years, and especially within the past 5 years, you'd probably assume that Japanese players have always been a thing. However, an astounding 91% of all Japanese-born major leaguers have played in MLB since 2000. There have also only been 15 Japanese All-Stars, with 2 players ever appearing in 3 or more games, and before Shohei Ohtani, just 1 MVP all the way back in 2001. Even with Team Japan winning the World Baseball Classic 3 of the past 5 years against powerhouse teams like the Dominican Republic and United States, it just hasn't translated to MLB success for many of these Japanese stars. However, Shohei Ohtani was able to emerge as one of, if not the most talented baseball players in the world, even overseas. But how did he manage this near impossible feat?
If you are a star and you need an interpreter, that might have something to do with your inability to ingratiate yourself with that young demographic to attract them to the sport.
But the fact that you got a foreign player that doesn't speak English, that needs an interpreter, believe it or not, I think contributes to harming the game to some degree when that's your box office appeal. It needs to be somebody like Bryce Harper, Mike Trout, those guys.
On July 5th, 1994, in a small city with a population of just over 100,000 in Japan named Oshu, the first chapter of Ohtani's legendary story began. Shohei was the youngest in a family of 5, all of which loved the sport of baseball. Now, if you've played Little League Baseball, you might assume you know what baseball for children is like, but you know nothing about the way Japanese Little League runs. Look, to be a Japanese Little Leaguer, you have to put in a serious time commitment. It's basically like a part-time job, sometimes even practicing up to 15 to 16 hours in a single weekend. And this is because of just conditioning and other drills. If this seems excessive, it totally is, but it's part of the reason why Japanese baseball players are so good at a young age, and it is exactly what Shohei Ohtani went through to make him one of the most tantalizing prospects in all of Japan. Early in his high school career, he was already one of the hardest throwing teens in all of Japan, maxing out at 99 miles per hour on his fastball at just 17 years old. And to put that into perspective, in 2023, the average 4-seam fastball for a major leaguer is 94.2 miles per hour. Obviously, however, Shohei wasn't 17 in 2023. He was in 2011, and the MLB average 4-seamer in that year was only 92.3 miles per hour, meaning at 17 years old, Shohei was already throwing 7 miles per hour harder than the average MLB pitcher. Maybe that's why little leagues overseas have their kids training so hard. Not to mention, in 2023, the average fastball velocity among 17-year-olds was around 81 miles per hour in the United States. So Shohei Ohtani was throwing 18 miles per hour harder 11 years earlier. He's just a gifted human being. Or maybe he's not a human being. I don't think that that's been confirmed yet. His electric fastball wasn't the only thing that had scouts swarming from all over Japan to watch him play. He also had his godly 6'5" frame to go along with it, making him maybe the most sought-after prospect in Japanese baseball history. Oh, and by the way, he wasn't even really a two-way player at this point in his career. Let's just take a moment to think about that for 1 second. He was the greatest prospect in Japanese baseball history exclusively as a pitcher, and through 6 years of his Major League Baseball career, he has a 148 OPS+. How could someone even be so talented? Either way, Shohei had the eyes of Japanese scouts on him, so he was drafted first overall by the Nippon Ham Fighters, even though he was persistent about wanting to join MLB without ever touching the Japanese league. However, the Ham Fighters ownership reminded him of the harsh American minor leagues, and also that superstar Ichiro Suzuki came from the Nippon Professional League to MLB, and it worked out well for him, so Shohei reluctantly signed. Another reason why Shohei Ohtani signed with the Ham Fighters would end up helping his career more than any other move. They believed in him being a two-way player. With Shohei Ohtani officially a member of the Ham Fighters and amazement around the Japanese sensation at an all-time high, it was time to see if he he could really survive in the MPB as a two-way player. And well, he could. His first season wasn't the most impressive showing for Shohei, batting just .231 with a measly 3 home runs and a 4.02 ERA on the pitching side of the ball. However, it was his rookie campaign and he was just 18 years old. Even with the less than ideal stats, Ohtani was still selected to be an all-star because of his otherworldly popularity in Japan. In his second season, everything changed for Shohei as he truly lived up to his hype, batting .274 with a 338 on base and .505 slug, to go along with 10 homers and 17 doubles in just 87 games. A huge offensive improvement from the same amount of games from his rookie season. He was also great on the mound, posting a 2.61 ERA with 179 strikeouts in just 155 innings. Shohei Ohtani was officially showing the rest of Japan what he could do at a professional level. The next season, Shohei dropped his ERA down to 2.24, which was the best ERA in the MPB. However, his offensive numbers had regressed heavily, and Shohei, being the man that he is, couldn't stand that. You see, at this point in Shohei's career, he wasn't the monster of a human being we know him as today. He was still tall, but he definitely lacked power because of his arm size, which he addressed heading into the offseason, and man did it work out, because he just simply had the best season of his MPB career. He managed to lower his already league-leading ERA down to an absurd 1.86, while mashing 22 homers and batting .322 with a 1 as the first number in his OPS. His team was also the best team in the MPB that season, winning the championship of the league and cementing his legacy in Japanese baseball history. His final MPB season in 2017 was definitely a bit of a regression, where he had a 3.4 ERA, but he also hit for a .332 batting average and missed a good amount of the season due to injury. And with that, Shohei Ohtani was officially being posted to America to play in MLB at just 23 years old. Sadly for Ohtani, his age was a pretty major problem because of the MLB Amateur International Free Agent rules. That's a bit of a mouthful, but it's what it's called. Since Ohtani was younger than 25 years of age, he was only able to be signed to a minor league contract, which has a pretty major cap on the amount you can sign the player for. Think about players signing from the Dominican Republic as a teenager. They never make that much because the only money you can hand out is international bonus pool money. The same rule had to be applied to Ohtani. If he had waited just 2 more seasons where he would have been 25 years old, everything would have been different and he would have signed a 9-figure contract with an MLB team. Instead, the max he could sign for was just over $3.5 million. However, Shohei had a dream, and that was to play in Major League Baseball in America. So he lived with the loss of money and bet on himself to become an international superstar. And with that, the first stage of the Shohei sweepstakes began. The initial report by known Yankees lover Jon Heyman was, unsurprisingly, the Yankees were the favorite to sign Shohei. However, they ended up not even being one of the 7 finalists. A big part of this reason was because they got the impression that Shohei preferred to play for a medium market West Coast club. The Los Angeles Angels seemed to perfectly fit that bill. However, as I said a few seconds ago, there were 6 other finalists, and some of them had more international bonus pool money than the Angels did. With the amateur international free agents, you can only offer those players what you have remaining in your set bonus pool money. Since Ohtani was posted later in the offseason, some teams had already used some of it up, leaving less money for some than other teams had. The Texas Rangers had $3.5 million remaining in bonus pool money, and they were also one of the favorites, but they were a central team and Ohtani wanted the West Coast. Along with the Angels and Rangers, the Dodgers, Cubs, Giants, Mariners, and Padres were all also involved in the Shohei sweepstakes. But ultimately, as we all know, Ohtani signed with the Los Angeles Angels for a ridiculous $2.135 million, which was every cent they had remaining in their international funds. Teams could have or even might have offered more, like the Rangers, but the Angels were the perfect fit for the Japanese phenom. However, just 5 days after he signed with the Los Angeles Angels, an MRI revealed a UCL sprain, which was the first concern of Shohei's health. Entering the 2018 season, Ohtani Mania had officially started in America, with him being the #1 prospect in all of baseball, jumping over Ronald Acuna Jr. and Vladimir Guerrero Jr., who dropped down to 2 and 3 on the top 100 list. And on March 29th, 2018, Shohei made his MLB debut on opening day in Oakland, where he went 1 for 5 with a single. In his first full month in MLB, Shohei was decent, All he did was win AL Rookie of the Month while batting .359 with a .400 on base percentage and an over .700 slugging and 4 homers, while the Angels went 8-4 in the 12 games he played in. A ridiculous showing for the rookie designated hitter. However, as a pitcher, things weren't going as great. In his first month, he pitched to a 4.4 ERA and allowed 9 walks and 3 homers in just over 20 innings. He got hammered by the Boston Red Sox, allowing 3 runs in 2 innings of work. However, there was one extremely bright spot in his month as a pitcher, and that was just his second major league start, where he threw 7 innings of one-hit ball and 12 strikeouts against Oakland. May was a much better pitching month for Shohei, where in his 4 starts he allowed just 6 runs in 25 innings, which turns into a 2.16 ERA. However, just 63 pitches into his first start of June, Ohtani sprained his UCL, which kept him off the mound for the rest of the season. Offensively, his May was solid, but definitely not nearly as good as his April, and due to the UCL injury, he missed all of June as a hitter as well. In July, he had the worst month of his career up to that point, batting just .203 with 3 homers and a less than .700 OPS. Things could have gone downhill for Shohei at this point. A terrible offensive month after a bad injury that would keep him off the hill for the rest of the season. Things were looking bad. However, since Ohtani isn't immortal like the rest of us, with all odds against him, he mashed once again, highlighted by his 4-for-5 night with 2 homers against the Cleveland Indians. In his final month of his rookie season, he decided that one Rookie of the Month wasn't enough, so he added a second, winning the September award as well, batting .310 with 7 homers, and once again an OPS beginning with a 1. This month was somehow even worse than his last month. He realistically could have won back-to-back AL Rookie of the Months. At the end of the season, the AL Rookie of the Year was about as obvious as it gets, Shohei Ohtani, and he finished his first major league season with a .285 batting average, .361 on base percentage, .925 OPS, and 22 homers, which was good for a .151 OPS plus, meaning he was 51% better than the average MLB player. Although he didn't pitch much, just 10 games due to injury, he had just a 3.31 ERA. It's safe to say that this rookie season really showed off what Shohei Ohtani could do at the major league level, and now all eyes were on him to see if he could continue the success of his rookie season. 2019 had to be one of Ohtani's most difficult years of his life, mainly due to the fact that in October of 2018, he underwent Tommy John surgery to repair the UCL he hurt last season. Due to recovery, Ohtani was unable to pitch. However, due to his offensive promise, he was still able to DH for the Angels in 2019. In his season as a designated hitter, Ohtani was solid, but not quite as good as his previous rookie season. He missed all of April due to rehabbing from Tommy John, and his May wasn't as good as many of his previous months. Then, in June, he had the best month of the season, where he batted .350 with a .191 OPS and 9 homers, which looked like he was going back to the Shohei we knew him to be. However, the rest of his 2019 wasn't overly impressive, although it was still solid. His season was cut 3 weeks short, however, due to an extremely rare knee injury. Overall, he finished the season with a .286 batting average, .343 on base percentage, which was good for just a .121 OPS plus. He was still above league average, but definitely worse than his previous season. But it's safe to say that a good amount of this was due to the fact that he was still recovering from a major reconstructive surgery. Another important point for this season was that this was the second straight season where Ohtani's Angels missed the postseason, which would become a pretty heavy trend over the next few years of his career. If 2019 was the worst year of Shohei Ohtani's life, I'd be fairly confident that, like many other human beings, 2020 took over as the worst year of his life. We all know about the certain illness that swept through the entire planet, but it was also the worst baseball season of his lifetime. In the 2020 shortened pandemic season, Shohei wasn't just not great, he was a bad baseball player. One of the worst players in the league, to be honest. As weird as that may sound, it's true, and it wasn't just on one side of the ball. Both were terrible. Since he was rehabbing for all of 2019 to pitch in 2020, it was a real slap in the face for Shohei and his fans as he got a bad flexor strain just 2 starts into the season. And in his 2 games, he was awful. He pitched just 1.2 innings in 2 games and allowed 7 runs total, good for a sky-high 37.8 ERA. And with that, once again, he's done pitching for the time being. Now, he couldn't have been nearly as bad of a hitter as he was a pitcher, right? Well, he batted under .200, .190 to be exact, with 7 homers in the 44 games he played in the shortened season. He was 21% worse than the league average hitter and 86% worse than the league's average pitcher. This was a truly terrible season for Shohei along with many other human beings. Things were falling fast for Ohtani. Back-to-back wasted pitching seasons with the offense never truly taking off. On top of all of that, there were rumors swirling about Ohtani not being able to stay healthy as a two-way player. Could Shohei bounce back? His chart is at an all-time low. It can barely even go lower. We need a huge bounce back for Ohtani. Let's see how he responds. Oh, wow. He responded with the best season of his career so far. By a lot. Okay, let's break it down. Shohei responded to the injury concerns by simply not getting injured again, and a big part of this was the Angels slowing down his pitching to every 6 days. He did miss a few starts here and there, but there were no real injuries that were notable throughout the season. His availability was one of the biggest reasons why he had the best season of his career, but the results were also better than ever for Shohei. His first 2 months were very solid, but in June he had by far the best month of his career, at least offensively. He hit 13 home runs in just 1 month and had almost a 900 slugging, which gave him over a 1300 OPS, winning him his first AL Player of the Month award, and in July, he earned his second. Shohei might have had his best offensive month in June, but the pitching wasn't really there. So in July, he decided to have a 1.35 ERA, even if it was only 3 starts. He wasn't quite as good offensively in July, however, his 9 homers and 1.067 OPS was nothing to laugh at. Now, after winning back-to-back AL Player of the Months, Shohei Ohtani was officially on MVP watch. In the middle of his 2 award-winning months, he also participated in his first career All-Star game. Oh yeah, and he was selected to be an All-Star twice, once as a pitcher and once as a hitter. Shohei Ohtani, after the 2 most difficult years of his career, had officially bounced back to a point where he was an all-star caliber player on both sides of the ball. This was essentially entirely unheard of, and if it wasn't crazy enough, he was also the starting pitcher for the AL and the leadoff hitter. Shohei Ohtani was officially one of the best hitters in the league while also being one of the best pitchers in the league. In the All-Star game, he unfortunately went 0 for 2. However, he did have a perfect inning in his 1 inning of work. This was just an absolute spectacle for Major League Baseball. After his incredible 2 months in the middle of the summer, his next 2 were just as good. He was a great pitcher, but not as great of a hitter, but he still coasted to his first MVP award, which was decided unanimously, becoming just the 19th player to win a unanimous MVP. He finished his season with a 3.18 ERA and 156 strikeouts in 130 innings of work, which set up a 1.41 ERA+, 41% better than the league average pitcher. Offensively, he might have been even better, batting .256 with a .372 on base percentage and .965 OPS. He also had a ridiculous 46 homers, 8 triples, and even 26 stolen bases to go along with it. Even with all of this, the Angels still missed the postseason, continuing the trend of Ohtani not playing in October. With Shohei Ohtani officially having his greatest season of his career, was it even possible to replicate his incredible season? Yeah, he really didn't get much worse at all. He basically remained just as good as he was the year before. Ohtani easily had his best pitching season of his career, so let's just focus on that for the most part. Really quickly, offensively, Ohtani had an .875 OPS with 36 homers. Whatever, great season, but not as good as last year. However, his pitching season was absolutely ridiculous. He had 28 starts, meaning he literally didn't miss any starts during the season. But it didn't start out that great for him on the pitching side of the ball with a 4.19 ERA in April. In May, he was better with a 2.88 ERA, which was boosted because of a poor start against Toronto where he allowed 5 runs in 6 innings. But even with that, still a great ERA. In June, he stepped up even more. After a rough start to the month where he allowed 4 runs in just 3 innings against the Yankees, he threw 4 absolute gems in a row. 7 innings, 1 run against Boston, 6 innings, 0 runs against Seattle, 0 runs, 13 Ks in 8 innings against Kansas City, and he finished out his month with 11 Ks in 5.2 innings. In his final 3 starts of the month, he threw 20.2 innings while allowing 0 earned runs. In his next start, he allowed 0 earned runs again, extending his scoreless streak to 27.2 innings, and he finished out the rest of the month of July with a 3.2 ERA. Oh yeah, and in July he was also selected to his second All-Star game as both the DH starter and a bench starting pitcher for the American League. No biggie, he did that last year too, so who cares? The best month of his season came in September on the push for the postseason, pitching to a 1.09 ERA. However, the Angels let down Ohtani once again, since they went just 73 and 89. Ohtani finished the season with an insane 2.33 ERA in 166 innings and 219 strikeouts. He finished 4th in Cy Young voting and 2nd in MVP voting, only because of a certain New York Yankee that broke the AL home run record, which put him above Shohei. However, Shohei now had back-to-back incredible seasons, both of which the Angels were not good enough to get him into the postseason. In my opinion, a slightly worse season than his 2021 dominance. However, he still has one more season to talk about. 2023 is the final year that has played out to this point, and like his past 2 years, he was incredible. Before even playing a game in real MLB, he had one of the coolest moments of the entire year, where he struck out his teammate Mike Trout to end the World Baseball Classic Finals and give Team Japan their 3rd title in just 5 seasons. In the real MLB season, he won back-to-back AL Player of the Months like he did in 2021, also both months being June and July. He was just incredible throughout the 2023 season. He had by far his best offensive season, where he led the league in on-base percentage, slugging percentage, OPS, OPS+, and also total bases. Along with that, he hit 24 doubles, 44 homers, 8 triples, and stole 20 bags, all while only playing 135 games due to a late season injury. He also had a 3.14 ERA and maybe had the best single day in baseball history, where in game 1 of a doubleheader, he threw a complete game shutout with only 1 hit allowed, and in game 2, he went 2 for 3 with 2 homers. However, just the next month, another devastating injury would strike Ohtani. In a start in late August against the Cincinnati Reds, Ohtani was removed from the game with a torn UCL. This basically meant his only option was to undergo Tommy John surgery once again. With the Angels out of the playoff picture already, he was shut down for the rest of the season, which basically all but ended his career with the Los Angeles Angels. Oh yeah, and even with the injury, he still won another unanimous MVP and was now projected to break the MLB record for largest contract ever handed out. Overall, in 6 seasons with the Angels, Ohtani won 2 unanimous MVPs, accrued 34.7 BWAR, hit 171 homers with a 274 batting average, 366 on base, and 922 OPS as a hitter, while also starting 86 games with a 3.01 ERA as a pitcher. And even with all of that, he had 0 postseason at-bats with the Angels. He was also playing on a huge discount throughout his career with the Angels, being paid just $36 million over his 6 seasons there, and 30 of that came in his final season. With Ohtani being in free agency, the overwhelming favorite was the Los Angeles Dodgers, who were projected to offer over $500 million even with the Tommy John surgery recovery still going on. However, it looked like the Toronto Blue Jays might sweep in late and steal Ohtani from the Los Angeles Dodgers. And yep, there he goes on that airplane to Toronto. Oh wait, never mind, that was just a shark from Shark Tank. What a mess this offseason's reporting has been. Ohtani eventually got offered $700 million from the Los Angeles Dodgers, and he accepted. And since the Dodgers have been playing in the postseason for the past 10 years in a row, we can probably expect to see Shohei Ohtani playing baseball in October for the first time this season. And throughout the first 106 games of Shohei Ohtani's Los Angeles Dodger career in 2024, he's done nothing but break all of his offensive records that he's already placed. He's leading the league in runs, and he's leading the National League in batting average, on base percentage, slugging, on base plus slugging, OPS plus, and total bases. And of course, he was the All-Star Game starter for the National League at designated hitter. Speaking of designated hitter, Shohei Ohtani is probably about to become the first designated hitter ever to win MVP. He already has a 6 wins above replacement and is batting .310 with 32 home runs and 28 stolen bases. And he just keeps getting better. Who knows what this guy's peak is gonna be? He just turned 30. He's continuing to get better year after year. It's scary what this guy's gonna be like in 2, maybe even 3 years if he continues to get better like he has every season of his career. And that was the impossible rise of Shohei Ohtani.